Lori, one of the articles we were kind of looking at kind of talked about President Obama and maybe he's taking on too much. Maybe he's trying to do too many things. And I thought that was very interesting because, you know, we always talk about how there's so many different battles that he's fighting. Maybe he should kind of shrink his agenda. Maybe he's trying to take on too much, and maybe he'll only be remembered about the things that he couldn't get done versus the things he can get done. So maybe he should shrink his agenda.
Well, I don't know if he can shrink his agenda because, and we talk a lot about the holistic viewpoint of the African mindset. I think it's insightful for him to see that all of these things are connected because, the healthcare issue is an issue that can't be ignored. We had a dire situation in terms of healthcare and the amount of people who didn't have healthcare before the financial markets collapsed. But the other issues in terms of going green and energy, conservation and the financial markets and all these things are all interconnected. Right. You can't address one without addressing the other. And if you look at the whole picture, you recognize that you need to try and do what you can in these individual situations to help, correct the economy. The Republicans who are, lockstep and just debating just to debate can wind up causing a lot of problems, but if we don't have them causing needless filibusters, if they address each of the individual issues individually, there shouldn't be a problem trying to find a solution that's convenient for everybody.
Okay. Well, the thing was interesting because in the article it kind of made an example of two different presidents, President Reagan versus President Carter. And it said that President Carter came to Washington with all these new, fresh, and wonderful ideas. Sound familiar, doesn't it? And then he started out with the Congress behind him, but then they got bogged down trying to do too many things.
Well, I think we have to realize that we're a fast-paced society. And, we have to learn how to multitask. Mm-hmm. And if you're in Congress, and if you're, of course, the President of the United States of America, you have to be able to multitask. So, to me, it's a ridiculous argument to say that he's taking on too many things. This is the United States of America. We have complex issues, and he's the leader of this nation. He has to assemble a team of people that can multitask, that can handle, that he can send out to dispatch these various, dealing with the economy, dealing with jobs, dealing with the banking issues, all of those specific issues, health care, of course. That's what government is about. Bringing a team of people together that are going to be in place to multitask. And he lays out the vision, and every department that's a part of our government has to play their part. It's not as if he's going to have to do all the work by himself. If it were he having to do all the work by himself, then we would say, wow, this is a lot for one person to do. But we have over 435 members of Congress that are a part of this process, that are working with the president and all of these various departments and bureaucracies all over this nation who are part of the formula. So I think we have to realize that a great leader does have to set out a strategy, and then we all have to play our part in moving forward those strategic plans.
Yeah, and I don't think we can overstate the fact that this president entered his presidency in a crisis situation in numerous, areas. So it's not like he's picking up all of these things, trying to do them at once because they're not emergency situations. The healthcare, the banking, the financial, the mortgage, all of these things are at a time where you have to address them immediately, not just because they're, important topics.
I think, again, you made an excellent point because when we make a comparison, especially when you're making a historical comparison, you have to look at the times that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a difference between us being in a recession and we're having a collapse of the stock market, and that is actually an excellent point. You were talking about Reagan and his whole idea of, Gorbachev tear down that wall, and the whole idea of a big military or whatever, but none of them had two wars going on at the same time, None of them had, the stock market to deal with. None of them had this whole global crisis or whatever, since we're in a global economy. So I think that, I think that they're kind of looking to make the big setup, saying that, well, Obama tried to do too much and that's why he failed. Whereas maybe people should be looking at the idea, Obama has a lot to do, and let's see how we can find a way to work with him to achieve those goals.
Yeah, and if we hadn't seen, a lot of us have seen The Inconvenient Truth, and if you didn't have Al Gore showing you that, a situation that we put on the back burner for years upon years is becoming dire, then you would say, okay, we'll put that aside, let's work on these other financial issues. But again, I think they're all interconnected. You've talked many times on this show about the economic opportunities that can
Right.
come, job-wise, et cetera, and also in terms of advancing the United States in that area, because it is an area of concern to the entire world, that if we can develop those things, that it's going to be a benefit overall.
It's a critical point. I mean, I hate to bring it up, but Reverend Jeremiah Wright, America, your roosters have come to roost, or whatever he said. I mean, we've got some serious issues.
Right, right,
And so
right.
at this particular point, we've allowed these, markets to stay underregulated. We've got high unemployment rates. People are losing their homes in alarming numbers. People can't get funding for some of their businesses to move forward. We've got some serious issues, so he has to multitask. There's no way possible he can just deal with healthcare and just let healthcare be it for the next 4 years. We have some very significant economic issues that have to be dealt with right now, and it requires a team effort. And I believe that he's showing that type of leadership.